Welcome to Classical YouTube channel. So we shall be solving a question on measure of central tendency, which is based on statistics. So as we all know that under measure of central tendency, we have the mean, median, mode, and the most complex one is the group distribution rather. So take note of this variable that under group distribution, we will always focus on frequency under group distribution. Under group distribution, we focus on what? Frequency. While under ungroup, we deal with what? With just midpoint or x value. We deal with what? X value. So that was the concept about what? The differences between group distribution and what? Ungroup distribution. And we all know that every ungroup can also be converted to what? To group distribution. So for this question, we shall be solving the following concepts under mean. So I want us to know that mean is subdivided into this following. We have the arithmetic mean, the assumed mean, the geometric, and what? And the coding method. Likewise, we also have harmonic mean. So let's take it one after the what? The order. So we shall be commencing our calculation from arithmetic mean. So under arithmetic mean, we have by x equals summation of fx divided by what? Summation f. Take note that with the formula, we know where we are going. But the formula, we know where we are what? Where we are going. And based on the question we have there, based on the question, we have the class interval, we have the frequency. So the first thing to do is to determine our what? Our x value. And x is what? The midpoint. So let's calculate the x value. To determine the x value, the what? The class interval, the value of the class interval divided by what? By 2 will give us our what? Our x value. So let's do that. So this plus this divided by what? By 2. That is 10 plus 19 divided by 2 will give us 14.5. Will give us 14.5. That's the first one. We also have this to be what? 24.5. We have this to be what? 34.5. We have this to be what? 44.5. And this to be what? 54.5. With the formula, we know where we are going. We have determined our what? Our x value. The next one is what? F and x, which means f times x. So let's solve for that. So 5 times 14.5 gave us what? 72.5. 7 times 24.5, 171.5. 10 times 34.5 gave us 345. The next one is 6 times 44.5 gave us what? 267. And the last one, which is 2 times 54.5, 109. We are good to go. So how do we determine fx? The multiplication of what? Of f and x gave us what? Fx. How do we determine x? We determine x from our class interval. That is the first interval divided by what? By 2. The second one, 20 plus 29 divided by 2 gave us what? This. That's how we what? We determine the what? The following. Now, the next thing is what? Is the summation of what? Of fx and summation of what? Of f. Now, let's do that. Summation of fx. Summation of fx and summation of f is 30. Summation of fx is what? 965. That is the addition of everything gave us what? 965. So we can now solve. So therefore, summation fx is what? 965 divided by what? Summation f. And summation f is what? 30. So therefore, 965 divided by 30 gave us what? 32 points what? 17. So approximately 32 points what? 2. So that's the first thing that we have calculated. That's the first one. Now let's proceed. Let us proceed to the second one. And the second one is what? Is assuming. Now let me just quickly explain some concept under this assuming. Some examiner can give us a value as an assumed value, but in some question we may not have an assumed value, but we can easily determine what an assumed value by ourselves. Some examiner can tell us that we can just assume any value or probably follow some principles. So the principle I will give to you is check the highest value of the frequency, and trace to your x value. So what is the highest value of my frequency? I am having 10. So if I'm tracing it to my x value, what am I having? 34.5. So 34.5 will be my assumed value. So assuming equals assume plus into brackets summation of fd divided by summation f, in which d means derivative, that is this tree is also having a formula which is d equals x minus what? A, which means derivative equals x minus a. So with the formula we know where we are going. Now let's take it one after the other. The first thing to solve for is what? Is d. And d is the formula for d, which is derivative. Derivative equals what? X minus what? A. So let's do that first. So derivative equals x minus a. Do not forget that our assume is what? Is 34.5. The highest of the frequency, trace it to your x value, which is what? This 34.5. So take assume equals what? 34.5. So that's my assume. So therefore derivative equals x minus a. Now what is my x? This is my x. What is my a? That is my a, which is the assume. So therefore we shall be what? Subtracting the what? The variable. So x minus a. So what is x? X minus a. What is x? 14.5 minus what? 34.5. Which will give me what? Minus what? 20. Minus 20. Thank you very much. Minus 20. The next one is 24.5 minus what? 34.5. will give me what? Minus 10. The next one is 34.5 minus 34.5 will surely give us what? Is 0. 44.5 minus what they assume, which is 34.5. So 44.5 minus 34.5 will give us what? 10. So the last one, which is 54.5 minus 34.5. 20. So let's fall back to the formula. The formula we are having derivative. I am done with that. This is my derivative. Now followed by what? The frequency. So which is frequency times what? Derivative. Now let's proceed. This is my frequency and this is my derivative. So therefore, this times this will give me what? Fd. So I can proceed. So what's my Fd? Which is said to be 5 times minus 20 will give me minus what? Minus 100. 7 times minus 10 will give me what? Minus 70. 10 times 0 will surely give me 0. So 6 times 10 is what? 60. 2 times 20 is what? 40. So we are getting there. So the next thing based on the formula is what? Summation, which means summation FD. Now let's proceed. Summation F and D, which means the total of what? Of FD. So the total is what? Minus what? 70. Minus 70. Minus 70. Now, automatically, I am done with this. We have the value for this and we have the value for this. So we can plug in the what? Using the formula. So therefore, What's my A? A is what? 34.5 plus into brackets summation FD. Summation FD is what? Minus 70. Summation F is what? Minus 30. So we can solve. So therefore 34.5 plus into bracket